Let's talk New York Mets baseball. It is Friday, April 28th, 2023, and the Mets are set to take on the Atlanta Braves for the first time this season. Game one is tonight, 7:10 p.m. at Citi Field in Flushing, Queens. There's been some news that there could be a potential rainout this evening. Last time I checked, there was probably about a 70 to 75% chance of rain, and it's supposed to continue throughout the night. Who knows what's going to happen? If that does happen, we could potentially see some type of doubleheader or something like that. But the reason that I'm here is I just wanted to throw out kind of just a series prediction, I guess you can say, or what I think will happen, and kind of match up both the teams just a little bit and just kind of see where I think they stand and how this thing is going to turn out. So let's go ahead and get started. As of right now, the Braves are 17-9. They're first in the NL East. The Mets are now standing at 15-11 after that last win yesterday against the Nationals, where they were able to avoid being swept, which was a great thing. And they are sitting at second in the NL East. Now, this is not the Nationals. They're facing a much better team in these Atlanta Braves. Obviously, we can see that just by the record by itself. But the Braves are third in the league in home runs. They're sitting behind the Rays and the Dodgers. They have 40 home runs, and the Mets are actually in 19th place with 27 home runs as of right now. A lot of those coming from our guy, Pete Alonso. He's probably their biggest hitter, and probably isn't the right word. He probably is the biggest hitter that we have on the team right now. I would say that the most consistent would be Jeff McNeil. He's definitely a workhorse. He's definitely the one who's been getting it done. He's had 16 hits and has a 1094 OPS in his last 10 games. He's definitely on fire, and he will be a factor in this series for sure. We're going to need a lot from him, Alonso, and the rest of the guys, but those are the two guys right there who have been on a tear as of lately. Atlanta is beating the Mets in just about every offensive category there is. So pitching and defense are definitely going to be key in this series. This series is going to rely heavily on defense. As a team, the Braves are fifth in the league with an overall ERA of 3.44, while the Mets have an ERA of 4.30. And the Mets are sitting in 17th place. The Braves are in 5th place with that 3.44 ERA. The Braves have 244 strikeouts to the Mets 224 strikeouts. Not a big difference, but the Braves have the lead there as well in strikeouts. Also, the Braves are looking better in home runs and walks. The Mets have more home runs hit on them and have walked more batters. So statistically across the board, whether you're looking at offense or whether you're looking at defense, on paperwork, the Braves look like the better team. But we know that real life scenarios are a little bit different. So that doesn't mean that the Mets don't have a chance and could potentially either tie this series or actually win the series. One thing is to consider is that the Braves are not invincible. They've lost 5 of their last 8 games. They were also swept by Houston. And so it's not as if, it's a guarantee that they're just going to go ahead and take this series. I think that the Mets, if they can stay strong defensively, we get a little bit of offense going, we get some good pitching, I think we'll be okay. David Peterson is going to get the start for the first game. He's got a 7.36 ERA. He had a rough game his last start, but I don't think that's who he is as a pitcher. I think that he has a lot more in his tank, and I think he's a much better pitcher than what we saw that last game. If you watch the channel, if you pay attention, I did a video on that subject, kind of in defense of him, just trying to give him a fair shake or a fair shot. I don't think that he's a horrible pitcher. I think that he had a rough game, and that really set his ERA back and set him back quite a bit. But I think that tonight would be a great night for him to turn that around and try to prove to himself and everyone in the team why he belongs and why, he's worthy of staying up there on the big show. As of right now, Tyler McGill is supposed to start game 2. He has a 3.96 ERA. He's doing okay. He's not phenomenal, but he's doing okay. Game 3 could be Jose Butto. And game 4 has a TBD beside it. It's to be determined, so we don't know who that's going to be. Now, I'm not sure if game 3 or game 4 will stay that way. If you remember, Justin Verlander just finished his rehab start today, and he said that he's good to go, in an interview earlier today. Today, he threw 69 pitches, had 52 strikes out of those 69 pitches. He went 4.2 innings with 2 hits, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. So pretty much, by those standards, with him saying that he's good to go and those stats, it all sounds good to me. He said that he's ready to go and he could be thrown in there at any time. So hopefully, slight prediction, maybe he could get thrown in there in game 4 or game 3. We also have Max Scherzer. He should be finishing out his suspension and should be able to pitch against the Braves. If I'm remembering correctly, that was part of the reason why he didn't dispute the ruling, also because he didn't think that he would get a fair shake. But one of the reasons that he didn't dispute it was so that he could go ahead and serve out his suspension and be back before this Braves series and be able to pitch against the Braves. So as of right now, game 3 is showing Jose Butto. Game 4 is to be determined. So potentially we may see a Max Scherzer, or we may see a Justin Verlander in game 3 or 4, or reverse them, however it would work or whatever they would do. I don't know if that Jose Butto thing is guaranteed right now. That could be subject to change. All in all, if we can get Verlander, Scherzer back in rotation, I realistically will call this series 2-2. The Mets have had their struggles, definitely offensively. And if it wasn't for Alonso and McNeil, like I said, the numbers would be way worse. But at the same time, Atlanta has had some issues as well. They're coming off of getting swept that last series. Miami took a game from them. That was a 4-game series. They'd won 3 out of the 4. I mean, that's nothing to complain about, but Miami did get them 1 game. And so it's not as if they're invincible or whatnot. So I don't think there'll be a blowout either way. I don't foresee this being a sweep either way. I don't, think that anybody is just going to get absolutely mauled or destroyed. The potential is there. It could happen. I don't know. But I'm going to stick with a split for this series, and I'm just going to call it 2-2. Could be wrong, but we'll see. Anyway, I just wanted to drop in, give a little bit of thoughts, give a little bit of what I think might happen over the course of this series. Like I said, it could be rained out this evening. We don't know. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully we don't have to worry about all that, and we can go ahead and get the first game knocked out and then move on from there so that we can get an idea of exactly what's going to happen during this series. Like I said, that's all for now. Let's go Mets.